I look around me, and everybody in their 20s and their 30s are poor. And of course, there's a bunch of people that are in their 50s and their 60s that think they know everything and want to give you advice about life. And you're sitting there kind of wondering what the heck is going on, scratching your head. And I felt, as a millennial who actually understands the economy and money, I figured I needed to make this video. Now, I recently looked at the U.S. Census Bureau labor statistics, and I wanted to look at what the cost of housing and what the cost of cars were in relation to income. And one of the things that I find extremely disturbing is back in the 1950s, your average person made $3,200 in a year, and the median cost of a new home was $8,450. This means that it basically take you, if we disregard taxes, little over 2.5 years of your wage to be able to own a house. Well, as you can see from this list, the number gradually went higher and higher. In the 90s, it became almost 5 years, and now we're looking at almost 10 years of wages, assuming that you pay no taxes, which isn't realistic, to own a house. So there's gonna become a time where people are not ever going to have a chance to own a house simply because the cost is way too high. What is driving this cost is debt and mortgages. It's the same thing with massive car payments. Now, in the 1990s, the U.S. government tried to increase home ownership rates, and one of the best ways they could do that is to have subprime lending. Here's a little article about that, might help you understand what that is. Another huge contributor to this massive debt crisis is the idea of adjustable rate mortgages. I've included a little article of that where you can look at that up a little bit as well. But the reality is this. The economy works in a way where if there is no debt, you have supply and demand. Say you go, and we're going to use this small example that I just made up on spot here. Say a car costs $10,000. And there's no such thing as debt. You actually have to have that $10,000 on you in order to afford that car. Well, there's going to be only a few people that can afford the car. Now let's introduce these loans and all these fancy ways to get this money that is so easy. Now all of a sudden more people can afford that car. And with more people being able to afford that car, there's a greater demand for that car. It makes it more expensive. So now that $10,000 car might cost $12,000 because there's so many more people that can afford it because they get this invisible money that rains from the sky. But what that does in the long run is eventually it makes it so expensive, the only way to afford that car is to have these massive loans. And the people who just want to be able to buy it outright have no ability to do that anymore, and that's what's happening with the housing market right now. You will have nobody able to save up enough money to actually buy a house for cash. Everyone will have a mortgage, everybody is going to be a debt slave, and the banks will own everything that you are and what you will be in the future, which is extremely disturbing. So if you want to look at economics, know this. It's very obvious if you look at the numbers that we are in a lot of trouble as a country. And if you value your freedom, well, you better kiss it goodbye, because these numbers say that you're going to be a slave the rest of your life. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to this channel and follow me on Twitter.